This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The SPLM has defended its recent internal reforms and the compositions of its leadership, dismissing accusations of former senior member Deng Nial Deng that the party hierarchy is broken and that the leaders were illegally removed. The Parliamentary Specialized Committee on Gender, Child and Social Welfare is seeking urgent actions from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to pass several crucial pieces of legislation before the end of the year. The Central Equatorial State Security Committee has directed the Juba County Commissioner and City Mayor to submit reports identifying cemeteries currently occupied by residents as part of efforts to develop sustainable solutions. This and many more stories are coming in this news bulletin with me, Darlington Moses, and now the news in detail. The SPLM has defended its recent internal reforms and the compositions of its leadership, dismissing accusations by former senior member Nial Deng Nial that the party hierarchy is broken and the leaders were illegally removed. But Makweng, the SPLM Secretary for External Affairs, on Wednesday stated that reforms, including the inclusions of new members who did not participate in the liberation struggle, were part of a legitimate process endorsed by the party's top organs. Makweng pointed to the SPLM Renaissance missions and the subsequent ordinary sitting of the National Liberation Council as the foundations for the changes. He noted that the National Liberation Council unanimously empowered the SPLM chairman, President Salva Kiir, to restructure the party. This led to the appointment of additional deputy chairpersons and deputy secretaries general. Makweng stressed that Nial Deng Nial himself was fully involved in the changes. The statement serves as the SPLM's official rebuttal to Nial Deng Nial's recent criticisms made following his high-profile defections and the launch of his own political entity, the South Sudan Salvation Movement. The SPLM statement notes that Nial Deng Nial's criticism included claims of broken party hierarchy and the controversial inclusions of members who were not part of liberation struggle. In May 2025, President Kiir reshuffled the SPLM leadership and revoked the appointment of several senior SPLM figures, including Kwal Manyang Juk, Daniel Aweta Court, and the former Vice President James Wani Iga. In a presidential decree read on national television, President Kiir announced a reshuffle in the SPLM hierarchy, naming new deputies to key positions within the party. Dr. Benjamin Balmel has been appointed as the first deputy chairperson of the SPLM. The Parliamentary Specialized Committee on Gender, Child and Social Welfare is seeking urgent actions from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to pass several crucial pieces of legislation before the end of the year. The committee's chairperson, Nyayong Johnson-Locke, called for the swift approval of pending bills crucial for safeguarding vulnerable groups. These legislations include the African Charter on the Rights of Child, the Child Labor Bill, the Family Law Bill, the Women Empowerment Bill, and the Anti-Gender-Based Violence Bill. This renewed push echoes a similar call made in August 2025 by Chairperson Nyayok Locke, who appealed to the former Minister of Justice during a sitting of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly. At the time, Nyayong expressed concern that the absence of these laws, particularly the Child Labor Accountability Bill, hampers the government's ability to hold individuals accountable for empowering and employing children in the street work. The Ministry of Justice, led by Dr. Joseph Genga Ketch, has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring all necessary legal frameworks are in place to safeguard the rights and welfare of women and children across the country. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Gemma Nunu Kumba, had previously also acknowledged the urgency of the matter, stressing the importance of the Family Bill and the Anti-Gender-Based Violence Bill. She calls on the Ministry of Justice to ensure all outstanding bills are presented and passed before the end of the transitional period. This is Irradiant News, and now before the international scene, the Central Equatorial State Security Committee has directed the Juba County Commissioner and the city mayor to submit reports identifying cemeteries currently occupied by residents as part of efforts to develop sustainable solutions. The directive came during an ordinary meeting of the State Security Committee chaired by Governor Rabi Mujung Emmanuel on Tuesday at Munuki Block. The session focused on the fate of public spaces in Juba, which have reportedly been grabbed by individuals. Speaking after the meeting, Leon Abe Brown, Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agencies, said key resolutions were passed, including measures to reclaim public spaces and address the issue of cemetery occupations by residents. The minister, Abe, said the purpose is to find out who lives in these cemeteries and why, as to guide the way forward. He stated that some cemeteries have been turned into residential areas, which is unacceptable. The committee also discussed operations of market associations such as the Border Association, whose activities sometimes overlap with local government functions. Minister Aberia affirmed the commitment of the state government to upholding law and order and called on the public to cooperate with security agencies. Following the meeting, Governor Rabi Mujung Emmanuel inspected offices at Munuki Block councils and engaged with Juba City Council staff. He noted that despite isolated incidences, the security situation across the state remains calm and is under control. This is Irradiant News, and now to the international scenes. A senior official of Tanzania's main opposition party has been arrested amid a crackdown on dissenting voices ahead of next week's general election. John Heki, deputy chairperson of Chadema, who was also detained while attempting to attend the treason trial of party leader Tundu Lissu. In a statement, Chadema alleged that the government planned to arrest senior party leaders and detain them until after the elections, which will take place on 29th October, is unacceptable. The government has not responded to this accusation. And finally, the U.S. has announced new sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, in an effort to pressure Moscow to negotiate a peace deal with Ukraine. The sanctions announcement came one day after Trump said a meeting planned with Russia President Vladimir Putin in Budapest would be shelved indefinitely. Earlier Wednesday, Russia unleashed an intense bombardment on Ukraine that killed at least 7 people, including children. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the new sanctions were needed due to Putin's refusal to end this senseless war on Ukraine. He said these oil companies fund the Kremlin's war machine. This is iRadio News, and now to end this bulletin, let's have the recaps on the top stories once again. The SPLM has defended its recent internal reforms and the compositions of its leadership, dismissing accusations by former senior member Nial Deng Nial that the party hierarchy is broken and that leaders were illegally removed. The Parliamentary Specialized Committee on Gender, Child and Social Welfare is seeking urgent action from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to pass several crucial pieces of legislation before the end of the year. And finally, the Central Equatorial State Security Committee has directed the Juba County Commissioner and City Council Mayor to submit reports identifying cemeteries currently occupied by residents as part of efforts to develop sustainable solutions. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at the top of the hour. I am Darlington Moses. Thanks for listening.
هل بتفتش